Clause number 5, it's management and leadership and commitment. Gentlemen, it's very important to understand ISO and ISMS implementation without a commitment from a leadership, it will not work. طيب, how the management commitment can be represented for the ISO implementation? We have multiple tasks which should be implemented or developed by the management. What are these tasks? Number one, you have to develop information security policy. You have to provide the resources for ISMS implementation, design, operation, and continual movement, continuous improvement. You have to communicate the importance of the information security through the organization. One of the main weakness points in the organization when we implement the ISO, that they had a meeting or management meeting or board director or whatever as we call it in any organization, and we are working together and we have the feeling of the importance of the security and the information security. But unfortunately, this feeling is only in this meeting, in this board, and this it's not communicated to the other employees, which is very important. Why? Because human, we are the weakest point or the weakest link in the security channel or security chain. When this is very important to make sure that every and each one in the organization, they understand the importance of the security. Management, we have to make security as a part of daily business operation and in any organization process. I'm quite sure that you worked in some organization. If you want to do anything, they have to tell you, wait 1 minute, we have to make a risk assessment first. If this operation passed the risk assessment, or if this process passed the risk assessment, then it's allowed. If it's not, then it has to be dropped. This is very important. In some situations, we are saying this against business, and this it will affect the performance of the business. But no, it will not affect the performance of the business. It will affect availability and repetition of the organization. Because if this new modification or process or activity or service, it's not stable or it's not secure, it can be utilized by hackers or to be compromised. And if it's compromised, it will affect the organization reputation, it will affect the organization market share, customers, they will lose their trust in this organization and they start to think to go to other competitors to feel safe with this organization. Then to make the risk assessment as a part of the daily operation or the organization processes, this is considered one of the safeguards which we can be used in protecting the network, or I mean protecting the organization assets. It is very important to encourage employees to propose improvements. Give them the chance, hear from your staff, especially the operations team, because we are the first line which they face the instance or problems or risks. ISO 27001, it does not require that the management commitment to be documented. This, it's not important, but it will be very useful to document the requirements, because this it will be as a security responsibilities of executive and top management. This is very important to you as security administrator. Why? Because this it will define what are the responsibilities of the top management, what are the expectations from the top management. Then I don't want to hear any of the board or the top management to say, I don't understand what do you require or what was expected from my side. Then if we have this document, then life, it will be very easy for us and for the top management, and we can utilize these responsibilities, and we can provide this information so easy to the management. Any questions? Gentlemen, do you have any security policy implemented in your organization? Do you know about it? Do you have it?
No, not yet. From my company, not yet.
Okay. Anyone?
In Saad Hospital, before it's closed, it's supposed to apply the HIPAA, but now it's Saad Hospital closed.
Okay, but before you had the security policy.
It was the HIPAA because it is a requirement for GCIA.
Okay, okay, GIAC, okay, okay, that's good. Okay, information security policy, gentlemen, it's one of the main important documents. And this is the responsibility of who is responsible for developing the security policy?
This is the management.
Management, you are right. Because as we mentioned yesterday, that the policy, it explain or it provide the intent of the management for security in the organization. What are the main objectives of security in organization? I want to protect my assets. I want to comply with regulations. We want to provide availability services for our customers and so on. Then this is the responsibility of the top management to develop the security policy. The security policy is very important to be based on the ISMS in your organization. And it should give the ISMS the objectives and the scope where it should go and what are the goals which it should achieve. Also, the security policy, it should be updated regularly and it should be communicated to the interested parties. Do you think, gentlemen, is it a right decision to share my information security policy with external vendor or external partner?
Yes, it is.
Why yes?
No, I don't think.
So that they can adhere to it and they don't violate our policies. For example, we share some data to them, maybe for analysis, for law, for troubleshooting or anything, and they don't disclose it to someone else, or they misuse it, or they don't dispose it of without proper procedures. So they should understand what is our security policy, how critical our data is, and what is the worth of this data that we are sharing. This is just an example. So
Okay, that's right. It's important, gentlemen, to share your security policy with your interested parties. Why? Because they have to understand what are the security objectives for your organization and what are the expectations from you regarding them as well, even partner, vendor, and so on. Right. As we mentioned in the security policy, it does not contain any confidential data or whatever. When this, our security policy, it will mention high level information related to our security intent in our company. But what will happen if you have one of your partners and you have a project with him and you want to share some standards or maybe procedures which are classified as confidential, and you have to share it with him. You have to tell him how to configure. You bought a new firewall and you want to provide the procedures for configuring this firewall for the vendor, and you want to share the firewall configuration procedure with your vendor. And this document classified as confidential. What is the right decision here? Should you share this document with him? Yes or no? If yes, why? If no, why? And what you have to do to be in good shape regarding security.
I believe we should share this information, but with some agreement that they will take care of it securely. So we should have some NDA signed with the vendors.
That's right. This is the right decision. In some situation, gentlemen, you have to share these documents with your vendors, especially if you have a project with them. But of course, you must have an NDA with this vendor. Then if there is any data, it's leaked from this confidential document, then this means that we have to appeal with the legal department. Okay, great. In subcontext 5.3 for organization, roles and responsibilities and authorities, it's very important to define roles and responsibilities for information security. This is very important. Each one must know what is his responsibility and what is his role in the information security system. What should I do? And what are my responsibilities? And if I did not comply with these responsibilities, what my organization it will lose. Then this means that it's very important. Although it is not mandatory by ISO 27001 to have rules and responsibilities documentation, but it's very important to have them written. Then it will be easy to communicate them to the staff. Besides, they can sign on it. Confirm that they know their responsibilities and their roles as well. ISO 27001 split the roles and responsibilities into two different categories. Number one, the roles where they are ensuring fulfillment of ISO 27001 requirements. This is the team. And another team who will be responsible for reporting, monitoring, and measurement of effectiveness of the ISMS. We have two different rules here for fulfillment of ISO implementation. It may be firewall configurations, it may be IBS configuration, it may be some administrative controls, physical controls implementation, it may be risk assessment, it may be monitoring and, sorry, not monitoring, monitoring is the second one. It may be continuous improvement and so on. These are the rules which it will be responsible for fulfillment of ISO 27001 requirements. And as you remember when we said requirements, they are represented by what? In ISO 27001, they are represented by the clauses. Then from clauses 4 to 10, these represent the requirements of the ISO 27001. The second rule, it will be reporting on the effectiveness and efficiency of ISMS and to report the results to the top management. Question: what is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency? What is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency?
So I think effectiveness is the basically it is representing how effective the controls are, whether we are able to secure our assets with this ISMS, and efficiency is how effectively we are able to do it. Either this is causing problems or it is taking to secure or to achieve this effectiveness, that it is effective. Efficiency is, we are not losing efficiency, for example, of our business, of our operations, something like that.
Okay, any other opinion? Where is the people of project management? I did not hear anything from them, although this is one of the important expressions in the project management. What is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency?
I think effectiveness is the ability to perform the task. Efficiency is how well it will be performed.
Okay, effectiveness means that processes are defined, objectives and goals are defined, and the achieved results are compared with the required objectives. Processes are defined, objectives and goals are defined, and the achieved results are compared with the objectives. We have 10 objectives, we implement or we achieve 10, then we implement 100% of the objectives. We achieved only 8 objectives, then this means that we have 80% effectiveness. Then this is the effectiveness. Efficiency, it is the same, but it will take in its consideration another factor, which is the resources, where processes are defined, goals are defined, achievements compared to the goals, using appropriate resources. Yani, I remember one of my trainees, he mentioned a good example here. He said, okay, efficiency, it will give you the impression of someone. He will tell you that I will memorize a Quran Kareem within 6 months. And there is another person, he will say, I will memorize Quran Kareem within 6 years. Okay, in effectiveness, both of them are effective. Why? Because what is my objective? Memorize Quran Kareem, right? And I will memorize it. But who is here efficient? The first one, because the first one, he will utilize his time more appropriately. He will memorize it in 6 months only. But the second one, he will memorize it in 6 years. And this means that it's waste of resources. Waste of resources, although your objectives are achieved, but it may, by the end, it will be considered as a loss for your organization. Because, okay, I can achieve my objectives, but if my budget or project budget, it was 1 million to achieve this project and I spent 10 millions, this it will be a trouble. The project, it will fail. Although my objectives are achieved, but it's not efficient, and by the end, the project, it will fail. Okay? Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think we finalized the the number 5.